The only negative experience, maybe one time I had, was actually from a TA, not from, well, actually twice I would say, is both are from TAs, so not professors, right? So you can see they're much younger, they're much, you can say perhaps less mature intellectually. So one time I took a class in political feminism. The entire class, it was at Barnard, right? So the entire class was actually like girls, and I was the only, man in there. And for my final paper, actually, I wrote on how Western feminism is actually just a tool for white women to gain advantage, but it doesn't do anything for, you can say Muslim women or black women or, any other type of woman, right? Rather, what you actually see is oppression, right? Oppression from white men and white women that are advancing their agendas upon women of the global south. And I give many examples of that. And then the final part of my paper was about how Islam actually provides many more rights for Muslim and non-Muslim women, right? So I took straight from the books of law, from the books of fiqh, and I explained like what is the status of a woman in Islam, right? And then how does the West actually view these different, like a pregnant woman, right? For example, how does Islam view a pregnant woman? How does Western society, through capitalism, how do they view a pregnant woman? So the feedback that I got for that paper, I think I got an A minus. That was the lowest I got in like that class or any other class, right? So I was actually very disappointed. So I wrote a long email on her comments. One of the comments that the TA made was that, are you arguing that feminism is not useful? What exactly is your position? And so on. It seems like she was a little frustrated. So what I did is, in my email, I told her that, look, you as a woman might be oppressed, but what you're doing, this is a classical example of an oppressed category of people, or an oppressed class oppressing another. You're silencing me, right? Because I'm trying to argue something, and because you feel like it's not convenient for you, you're actually disagreeing with this. So finally, the professor actually ended up giving me an A, and she was very nice about the whole thing. But it goes to show that sometimes, as a Muslim, you might argue, you might be actually using feminist arguments, you might be using Western liberal arguments, but they're not used to seeing it being used from a perspective that they're not accustomed to, right? So the way, for example, they look at indigenous people, the way they look at black people, for some reason they refuse to apply that to Muslims. And my entire argument was, okay, let's apply this exact same lens to Muslims as well.